I am Comic Web. You know that glare. I don't like it. So I don't really need my glasses unless I'm driving. So anyway, so what I wanted to do was do an unboxing today. I got this in the mail. This is if any of you follow my IG, my Instagram, you'll notice that what I do with that is I post my Valiant Nintendo Comics System books, and so because of that, I got one in today, and it's kind of an upgrade from one that I have from before, but I wanted to unbox it here. I haven't opened it yet, and then kind of give some information on those Nintendo books. What's the difference? Because there's a lot of confusion out there on what exactly is a newsstand, what is not a newsstand, and I did an article about this on Shortbox, which is on the Shortbox app. It's a nostalgia one, 80s and 90s nostalgia, and the information that I'm going to talk to you about is in that article, but not a lot of people have read that article. So I'm hoping that those of you that are watching this, you know, get a little education on it. So this came from Canada. I was watching this item. I purchased this off of eBay. And it finally got delivered today. So excited about adding this book to my set. So I'm still five books away from a complete raw or graded Nintendo Comic System set, and I am looking for them, but when I have an opportunity to upgrade, you know, a book that I already have maybe graded or raw, and these things have just gotten more expensive, I was figuring why not. So this came up. I was happy to put a bid in on it, and it's not the one I really wanted, but it's a good one. So opening this is well taped. I'm very happy with the seller. Nothing worse than someone not taking the time to package your items correctly. So I do appreciate it, even though for a live video and people who are waiting on watching it are like, get to it. So I'm trying. All right. So here we go. Just break that up right there. Take this down. So when I started buying these, it was over 2 years ago, especially before everybody else was. That's for sure. I was able to get some really great graded books cheap, because nobody was really going for them. They weren't on anybody's radar. They were on my radar, but they weren't on anybody's real radar for spec. The reason I jumped on it was, of all the nostalgia that's out there, Nintendo, and I was never a Nintendo kid. Well, I mean, let me be completely honest here. I'm not a Nintendo kid. I'm a Sega kid. I'm a Sega guy. And I had a job at Toys R Us back in the early 90s. I mean, like early 90s. And it was just a seasonal job. It was just for Christmas. And I always wanted to work at a Toys R Us, so I was like, you know what? I have an opportunity to do that for Christmas, so I did. And they hired me for the video game department. And so I did that, and I was the Sega guy, and there was a Nintendo guy, and at the time, really, there was only those two. Those were the two. I mean, there wasn't really another contender at all. And, apologize, this is taped very well. So there wasn't anything else really on the market. And this is around the time that the Genesis was in its kind of slower period, when the 32X was being introduced. So right before the Saturn really came out. And yeah, I'm one of the 5 people that bought a Saturn because I loved it. And I was a Sega guy, like I said. And yes, I bought a Dreamcast, $99.99, because that was the release date. I was working in the mall part-time. And I was actually working at Sam Goody. And had an opportunity to buy it. And I pre-ordered it and did. And there you go. I love that machine. So I don't game anymore, but when I did, that was my jam. So, all right, well, here it is. And I'm absolutely going to be changing this bag. I'm not a fan of this bag, but here you go. It is Super Mario Brothers. This is the second print. Okay. This features artwork and stories from the regular Super Mario Brothers issue number 3. There was a time, there was a situation or two where when they did the second print, they did a different cover, but it was the same art as one of the other issues from the direct market. So you can always tell with these because of this. Okay, you've got your UPC symbol right here. And what this means when it's on the left side of the book is it's a newsstand. The only one that isn't like that is Captain N number 3, which is also on the left side, but they didn't make any newsstands of Captain N at all. There was 5 issues, and it was all direct market. It was $195 cover price, and that's the other way you can tell. Because the direct market editions were glossy covers, and they were $1.95 cover price. And the newsstand versions, which are much harder to find in high grade, were $150 cover price. So I'm not sure if you can see that. It's $150 cover price right there. So when I first started getting into these and was buying graded ones, I was looking for newsstand editions. And the reason why I was looking for those is, one, they're harder to find raw, especially in high grade. I mean, nearly impossible. They're just not out there. So when this came up, I couldn't, how can I not bid on it and try to get it? So this is the book that I've added to my new collection, Super Mario Brothers 3. It's the newsstand edition, 9.6. So I have, excuse me, in my collection, the same book, but it's a 9.4. So the 9.4 I bought about a year ago. I actually bought this from Red Hood Comics, and was very happy about adding this to the collection. So I think this one will be going up for sale since I upgraded to a 9.6. I believe there's only 2 9.8s ever graded of this book. So anyway, so that's the book. That's the book that I just got and increased into my collection on this. So very happy to do that. And there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of misconception on the Nintendo books. A lot. And I've done a lot of research on this. A lot. I mean, it's, for the first time in the last 2 weeks, on the CGC census, a Valiant Nintendo book finally cracked 200 slabs. Okay, it just happened. It's not something that has happened very often. So, and it's only Super Mario 1 and The Legend of Zelda, the direct market edition, then the $1.95 cover price one is the only one that is, those 2 books are the only 2 that have 200 that have been graded in the census. And then you've got these. Now we know CGC is grading these. Okay, this is the collected trades, and these actually came out at the same time the books did. So really, technically, these are kind of the first appearances of Metroid and Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, and Captain N, and the Mario line, because these actually came out at the same time the books did, if not a week or 2 beforehand. Now, there's 2 different versions of this, okay? This is, it's funny that according to the census, if you looked at the census, you would see a big disparity. This is the priced one. This one, it has a cover price of $9.95. Okay, there's not a lot of these graded. I mean, less than 10 of this version with the price sticker. The one that you see more graded is the exact same cover. It just doesn't have a cover price. You can see it's completely blacked out. And you can almost see very closely that the printer just put a bar on top of it that covered it. So whoever printed these, you know, it wasn't the greatest job of covering it up, but it is the same book. It's the same book in and out completely, except for the cover price. And what we have found out in research is these no cover price versions were collected and put together with two other no price books that Nintendo and Valiant put out, which is Captain N #1. It doesn't have a price tag. There's no price on it. And Zelda 1 has a no price. Those are the only two regular floppies and they're both direct market. They're both $1.95 stock, glossy cover stock, and all of that. It's exactly the same book, just without the cover price on the cover. But they are direct market, and they were packaged together and sold at like Targets and other retail places in the early 90s, in 1991, 1990, as Valiant and was trying to get into other sources because, well, video games were, you know, that was a lucrative license. It was an expensive license for Valiant to get in the first place. So this is issue 1 of that. They came out with a #2, okay? Now, there is a variant of this, but not because of the price. Okay, there is no variant of this without a cover price. It's weird. This is the one that you see most often, most often, if you see them at all, is #2. It's Nintendo Comics System's #2. They're usually pretty jacked up, but this has ads on the inside covers, and for some reason Nintendo or Valiant Comics at the time decided to make a variant of this. The guts inside of it are exactly the same. This one is much, much harder to find. In fact, there's only 3 ever graded of this, this softcover trade. This was not cheap. I found one high grade, and I was willing to pay for it because every time I've ever seen it, it was beat to hell. It was beat to freaking hell. So this was a gorgeous Near Mint Plus copy, and I was more than happy to get it. So the difference between this, besides the cover, is the back is different, but the inside covers of this don't have ads like the other one does. The inside, the inside front has a wrestling ad for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and this does not. It's all blank. It's just white. And the same on the inside inside cover of this. There's no ad like it is on the other one. So there's a big difference. So just a little bit of tidbit info. These were the only trades that came out. So this is all 4 of them. There aren't any others like that. That's with the price difference and the price variations with them. Now there's hardcovers that came out. The best of the Nintendo Comics System. This is a collection of the same stories. Many of you remember these. If you were a kid, you read this until the covers came off and things like that. This features artwork from Bob Layton and Art Nichols and Don Perlin a little bit. It has colors by Janet Jackson, who of course was with Shooter in every incarnation of any company that he did after Valiant, with Defiant and Broadway, and so she's kind of been his go-to friend in terms of the business, and has been a close confidant. Janet Jackson has, and no, not the singer. But Janet Jackson was known as a colorist, and she also did a lot of production work and stuff. So this is the best of Nintendo Comics System. Now, there is a variation of this book, and you can tell very quickly because there's a mallard logo here. Okay, this mallard logo, which you can see, there's a mallard logo, and then there's a Valiant logo, the Valiant compass. So you would see this in the place of this. I have found that the Valiant logo on the spine is much harder to come by than the mallard logo. I don't know why. I don't know any print runs. These were probably mass produced. Used bookstores are a good spot. Maybe you might be able to find one. That'd be a good resource to see. There's a lot of half-price books everywhere, not near me, but in other parts of California or in the country or across the world. Depends on where you're reading this or listening to this and watching this. So again, these are just a collection, of different stories that were in the floppies, but then presented in one larger volume like this. And then there was this one also, The Best of the Super Mario Brothers. Now, the difference with this is you've got two versions of this. Same thing. You've got a Valiant logo here or a Mallard logo. So the Mallard logo I have found is to be much more common because the Valiant one, if you have this one with the Valiant logo, there's a possibility that when you open this, on the inside front page, Nintendo did a signed version of this. Now, what that is, it's not printed on the page. It is more of a sticker that they placed on it, and it's signed by somebody that worked at Valiant at the time in 1990, 91, and worked on the Nintendo books. This specific issue was done by Janet Jackson. So the colorist that we were talking about earlier signed this. This is one that, and I have found that the only ones that have that sticker on the inside are the ones that have the Valiant logo on the spine. Okay, so if you're looking them up and looking for these on eBay, a lot of them don't show that. So they show pictures of everything else. They'll show pictures of the front and the back. You can't distinct it without seeing the spine. Okay, the spine will give you that indication whether it is the Valiant version or the Mallard publishing version. So something to keep in mind when you're out there hunting for these comics, especially the Valiant books. So, I'm going to do a much larger Valiant Nintendo deep dive into the books because I have so many of them anyway, and it would be a really good thing to go over them because there's just not a lot of info on these books. The line is only about 55 books, 55 floppy books. There were also some like digest reader size versions of the that were new stories that were only printed in that. So those are also out there. They're also able to be graded by CGC or CBCS. And they're not a lot of them graded. I mean, the most I think has 3 or 4 graded at all. So those have commanded high prices when they have gone on sale. Just like a lot of the 9/8s that you see now on the CGC books that are a Nintendo Valiant. I mean, an Adventures of the Mario Brothers #8, which is the final issue. It's a newsstand because anything that says Adventures of the Super Mario Brothers is a newsstand. It's a $1.50 version of it, and it went 9 issues, and it has an amazing Jade cover. Jade cover, and like this is the copy of this, but it's a 9/2. Now this is my copy of it. I think there are maybe 7 or 8 graded copies of this book in the census at all, and there's none in the CBCS census. A 9/8 of this sold in the 600 to 650 range about 2-3 months ago, because I was watching that auction and was hoping it wouldn't go that high. So, but it did. So I did the smart thing and got a lower grade one for much cheaper. So, because I just needed it for the collection, and I'm trying to get every graded book anyway. So, anyways, if you have any questions on the Super Mario Brothers books or the line, like I said, I've done a lot of research on it. You can always message me down below. Hit the like button, please. Hit the subscribe button as I'm trying to grow this channel a little bit, and I will be doing much more videos as we go. And hopefully you're enjoying the content, and we'll go from there. All right, thank you guys very much.